You've mentioned that a vote that is not for conservatives in the upcoming elections is probably a vote that is thrown to the wind.
No, I didn't mean that. I would never mean that. Basically, you have a vote. Here's your level of apathy. Now,
Mhm.
right now, conservatives are, the ones who are voting are very
Right,
angry. They are going to vote.
right,
I think
right.
there's even a poll. You can look that up. They did a poll of intention
Right.
to vote. That's what they call it. And like
Yes.
for conservatives, it's way up. They will vote. If you're not voting conservative, now I know a lot of people are starting to kind of get, you know, they kind of get scared of conservatives. So their level is going to rise. But for the voter intent for anybody, because like you say, the dissatisfaction with Trudeau is even high amongst liberals. So why would, if I was going to vote liberal, why would I vote liberal? Because they've got a leader I don't really like.
Well, I think the factor in which people are getting scared more and more of conservatives, I think, in my opinion, is more of a populist rhetoric. And a part of it also will be the fact that media generally has actually become a tool for liberals. And let me even say a tool for left-wing ideology. Every study shows that actually that media has turned really left-wing in the last
No,
years.
what studies have you
Oh,
seen that say media
well,
is left wing?
don't forget, I had a podcast recording where you actually commented this last time too. The professor, the political scientist, who talked about the fact that actually media is increasingly becoming left wing, so or left leaning, I should say. That was the
No,
language he used. And I read a bunch of articles. I think we'll come back to this conversation. Let's not go into media. This will be a very good conversation for us to come back later on and have.
that's a big. I would, in fact, I would probably say the media is our probably our biggest problem. But I would certainly not say that liberal is left leaning. If you're not conservative, you might see it as left leaning because it's not right wing. But Canada has always had like maybe 5 media companies. That's pretty much it. So if
So,
you read the
so
Globe and Mail,
would
there's
you?
no way in any rational world somebody can say the Globe and Mail is left leaning. That would be outright crazy. I would say you'd have to be nuts to think that. The Globe and Mail is
Well,
pretty
I'll
much
let
the.
people. I will let people talk about that in the comment section, and you and I will come back later to
Okay.
have this conversation about media. But what do you want to see for political reforms if a new administration is coming into office, or even if Trudeau retains power, or whoever the liberals want to, put up takes power? What do you want to see in
Well,
the immediate?
what I would think is I'm pretty happy right now. You've got a prime minister who's not very popular, which is fantastic. I'm not big on leaders. Leaders are great for China, or you might like Putin or something like that. I want a weak leader. That's what I want. I want a leader that in New Brunswick. That's probably the only plus of the liberal area. Most people don't even know who she is. That's a good thing because it costs $30,000 just to run for liberal leadership. So she owes a lot of favors. So what you want is a liberal party around her that's like, you're hanging on by a thread. You have to actually listen to us because
What do you
here our
mean, though? You
premier
want a
says,
weak leader?
"Oh, a weak leader, absolutely." Well, I mean, what's a strong leader? Isn't a strong leader a dictator?
Not exactly. Strong does not mean dictatorship. I think strong means visionary. It means having the power to,
Having the
the
power,
willpower.
having the
Yeah,
power,
having the willpower. No,
right?
willpower, not power. Well, every leader has power, but having the willpower to do the will of the majority, maybe in the democratic system, and yeah, visionary leaders. Those are strong leaders. Why would you want a weak leader? One that is tossed around by the populace in their parties? Is that what you mean by weak leaders?
A
One
weak,
that dances to the tune
well,
of
like I say, a
international
leader.
organizations?
You're talking about one person having a vision and implementing that vision, which is the literal definition of a dictator. One person with a vision who has the power to implement that. That's what a dictator is.
So why do political leaders present their manifesto, their vision when they're coming into office?
Well, they pretty much have to. I mean, that's what media says. That's what media wants. That's why everything revolves around the media.
No,
Because,
but if you
like I
don't,
say, right
if you
now,
don't have a vision, then you become a little, pawn on the board that anybody can toss
well, we're all
around in the
pawns.
party because you're surrounded by a lot of
Democracy is a board of pawns. Democracy is everybody is a pawn. And how you have to realign society is how do all those pawns get along. That's what democracy is. Everybody has equal power. Everybody is a pawn. Now, that's a perfect analogy. Is like you're saying, well, we're going a king and a queen who are super duper and they have a power, and we're just pawns. That's not
no,
democracy. That's never been
no,
democracy.
I think strong leadership is now how you manage the voices from those pawns on the board. Otherwise,
Well,
each
no, that's not
one would pull
democracy.
you in different
Democracy,
direction.
the pawns can do that themselves. Pawns getting together can do that themselves. You can have a referendum. All the pawns vote. You have a referendum, is done. That's what Switzerland does. Everybody gets. There's towns in Switzerland where everybody shows up once a year. I was just watching one the other day. They were deciding whether to have a swimming pool. The whole town is there. Should we have a swimming pool? Everybody raised their hand. Okay, 70% wanted to increase taxes to buy a swimming pool. Done. Everybody's a pawn. Everybody voted. Your idea of a visionary would be somebody who thinks he knows that. He might be the guy who only listens to people who are saying, no, we don't want a swimming pool. I don't want my taxes going up. But he's a visionary. No swimming pool. And then those 40 people, 40% might be very vocal. So you might think that. But we have a minority government. That's fantastic. Because what
All
happened was
right.
the conservatives had an idea. They said, we don't want the carbon tax to apply to farming fuels. And the NDP supported that. So it overrode what the Liberals, with their vision, we want a carbon tax on everything. And they said, well, no, we don't want it on farmers because we need food. And the NDP said, yeah, they're right. Let's not have it on that. And that got in because the Liberals they're not the visionaries. They can't get their vision in completely. They have to compromise. And that's what you want, is a compromise.
The analytics on this channel show about 95% of the viewers on the channel haven't subscribed yet. So you do me a favor by clicking the subscribe button right now. Then I'll keep my promise to continually improve on the quality of the conversations that are produced on this channel every time.